So this webinar, we are going to see about how you can utilize your Zoho calendar and manage your schedules more efficiently. So let me introduce myself. I'm Revati. I'm a product expert from the Zoho calendar team. And I have here with me Jashwant, who is a technical support engineer. So he'll be assisting you in answering all your queries in the Q&A box. So I hope everybody found the Q&A box. So please post your queries as and when you have in the Q&A box. And we have our team. So we'll be answering these queries in the real time. So let's begin. So the agenda for today's session would be, so we'll look into how you can manage your calendar with Zoho Calendar, and then we'll set up your calendar using the customization options available that, and then we'll explore the types of calendar. There are many types of calendar, for example personal calendars, or you have some app calendars, or you can even subscribe to holiday calendars as such. We'll explore each types in detail. Then we'll see a quick demo on how to create and manage an event in Zoho Calendar. Zoho Calendar has some of the unique features available which helps you create and manage an event at ease. So we'll look in details about all these features in this demo. Then we'll see about how you can collaborate using Zoho Mail and Zoho Calendar integration. Then we'll look into sync and subscribe options, and then we'll end the session with a Q&A. So let's begin. So Zoho Calendar in a nutshell. So I need not stress upon the importance of calendars in these days. Like everybody is working in remote, like some of us are working in hybrid. So we have to put on some effort to manage and plan your schedule in an efficient manner. So first and foremost, we look into how Zoho Calendar helps you in managing your schedule. So with Zoho Calendar, you can schedule your meetings and appointments. So it's not only like the meetings you are scheduling, you can also use the calendar to, you can also share your calendar with your clients or anybody in your team so they can book an appointment with you. Next is the conferencing option. For calendar, we have an meeting integrations with multiple meeting applications like Zoho Meeting and Zoom conferencing options, which you can add by default to add conferencing to your day-to-day events. Then is the share and embed calendars. There are times when you need to share your calendar within your team or maybe some of your clients, and they want to check up on your schedule. Or if, for example, if your manager wants to see how your day is managed and what are the events you have in plan, on these cases you need to share your calendar. And also for embed calendars, if you are in a professional service where people book appointments with you on a daily basis, you can even embed your calendar in your website so that people can submit a form to book an appointment with you. Then is the subscribing to calendars. Apart from all the types of calendars we have, you can also subscribe to calendars available both in the public domain or as well as within your organization. If somebody has shared their calendar with you, you can subscribe to those calendars, and those calendars will be listed under the subscribed calendar section. In a similar way, you can also sync your calendar across multiple platforms. For example, you may be a Google Calendar user or an Outlook Calendar user. You want to sync both the calendars together. So Calendar provides you with an unified option where you can sync all your calendars and manage all your events from one single place. In the same way, you can also sync your Zoho calendar to your native device app calendar so that wherever you are, whenever you are still in control of your schedules. Next is integration with external application. For external applications such as Zoom conferencing and Zapier provides you with with helping your workflow manage even better. So now we'll look into the demo. So let me share my screen. So first, before going into how to set up your calendar as per your customizations, let's dive into the UI a little bit. So as you can see, this is how your calendar will look like on a normal day. You'll have all your events available in a single place, which you can change the view from the list available. For example, if you're comfortable with the day view, you can choose it so that all your events on this particular day will be listed. So you won't be cluttered of so much of information. If you are a person who wants to see all the things you are part of in one single glance, you can even choose the work view, week, or even the month view. So on the left side, we have list of all the calendars available. So you can see a different types of calendars here. For example, my calendars, app, subscribe, group, or shared calendars. So we'll see one by one. So under my calendar section is your primary default calendar. So when you create an account with Zoho Calendar, or if you're part of any other Zoho bundle, you'll be assigned a Zoho Calendar account. So once that is done, you'll have a primary default calendar. So other than the primary default calendar, you may want to have different types of calendars for different needs. For example, if you're managing both your personal events also in the same place, you can also create a personal calendar and add all your events directly from the Zoho calendar. So you can use this plus option to add a calendar based on your preferences. Here, this is a calendar of Rebecca. So Rebecca has calendars for her personal use, for her official use. Since she is part of the marketing team, she also has a marketing discussions calendar. So every time an event is created, you can choose which calendar that particular event is part of, and those will be assigned accordingly. Also, you can use this tick mark to enable or disable the calendar from the grid. For example, I have disabled the Rebecca's personal calendar. Similar way, you can also color code your calendar so that when you see the events on the grid, if you see this particular grid, you will see multiple color options available. For example, yellow, green, and blue. So each color denotes a particular calendar you're part of. So you can color code your calendar based on your preferences. Next is the app calendars. Zoho provides you with an option to integrate your calendar with both internal and external applications. You can integrate with other Zoho applications such as projects, tasks, contacts, etc., and also external calendar applications such as Google or Outlook. So once you have integrated those calendars will be listed under the app calendars. Next one is the subscribed calendars. You can other than these app calendars and my calendars, you can still subscribe to any publicly available calendars. For example, you're working on a shift and you want to know the holiday for that particular shift, or if you're working on a different country and you want to get notified of all those, you can subscribe to any of the holiday calendars available. Similar way, if you're a sports enthusiast, you can also subscribe to the Olympic calendars or FIFA World Cup, whichever is available. You can just download, you can just copy the iCal URL from the public domain and subscribe it to directly from the Zoho calendar. The next one is a group calendar. So if you are a Zoho Mail user, whenever you create a group in Zoho Mail, both a personal group and an organizational group. So whenever a group is created in the mail, a calendar will be assigned to the group by default. So other than that, you can also create multiple groups directly from the calendar itself. For example, you have a small team inside a team and you want a particular calendar for that team, or you're working on a project and you want all the project members to be part of that group. So you can create a group calendar directly from the Zoho calendar left menu itself. You can click on the plus icon and you will be taken to the group calendar section where you can add a group calendar. The next is the shared calendar. So when you have shared your calendar within your organization or anyone to an external organization also. So whenever somebody has shared their calendar to you and you have subscribed to those calendars, the list of all those calendars will be available under shared calendars. You can also check this shared calendars in the settings section too. So other than these, we'll look into the new event in a later part. And then now we'll look into how you can first basically set up your calendar to suit your requirements. So be it a calendar or any kind of application, the first and foremost thing we set up is the language, because that's how we start with it. So Zoho provides you with an option of n number of options for both regional and international languages. So you can choose any languages, be it a Chinese or any, if you're an Indian customers, you have like Kannada, Kashmiri, Konkani, all kinds of languages you can choose from the list given below. And also similarly, you can choose your font size based on your preferences. Next is the theme. Theme, you have two options for to choose the theme for the left pane and also the appearance for the entire calendar. Here I have chosen the light theme. I can change it to dark theme. Similarly, the color of the theme can also be changed as per your taste and preferences. Next is the desktop notification option. If you are a person who works on multiple tabs at the same time, every time you open your systems, you have so many tabs, you can't recognize calendars at instance. So for such people, we have the desktop notification option. Once you have enabled the desktop notification, even when you're working on any other tabs, all your notification will be popped up. So in that way, you will be reminded of all the event no matter where you are. Next is the time zone. For a calendar, time zone is one of the primary features that needs to be taken care of. So your primary time zone is based on your current geographical location from your desktop. So if you are traveling, you travel across multiple time zones, you can change your primary time zone directly from the settings. You can also choose to notify you based on your current location. So when you have traveled and you're working in a different location and your calendar is in a different location, the calendar will send you a notification to update your time zone. Only when your time zone is properly updated, you will be receiving your event reminders promptly. So make sure you always have your primary time zone updated. Next is the secondary time zone option. If you have people working from multiple time zone or your clients are in different time zone, secondary time zone comes in handy. So you can enable a secondary time zone and you can choose any kind of time zone. So here let me choose the China Standard Time. So you can see both the time zones will get updated in the grid. The bolder one is the primary and the demi-bolded one is the secondary time zone. So whenever you can create an event, so you can check for both the time zone to see both the people are available for that particular time and book an event. Next one is the calendar view. Everybody has different preferences, how they want their calendar to be visible. So you can choose how you want to view your calendar, either by day, week, month, or work, or even with agenda. And every organization has a different working policy. For some, the work week starts on Monday to Friday, or for some, it starts on Monday to Thursday. So whatever your organization structure is, however your work is scheduled, you can choose your work week and also the work hours. If you're working in a different shift, you may need to change your work hours. So that's all about it. And then we'll move on to the event settings. So event settings are not just like any other settings. These settings will help you reduce your time or like save your time whenever an event is created. So every time we create an event, we need to enter a certain set of information. So instead of entering those informations every time, you can choose those in the settings so that whenever you click on a new event or when you click on the smart event, those settings will be applied automatically. Again, these settings can be overwritten in the event creation form, but just to make the work easier, you can set up the default event creation settings. So first is the default event duration. For example, I am a person whose meetings mostly extend for 1 hour. Like most of my meetings are 1 hour except for a few. So in that case, what I can do is I can set my default event duration to 1 hour. So whenever I create an event, that will be automatically assigned 1 hour. So only in those cases where the event duration is lesser, I need to override, but that is fine. Most of the times I'm saving time using that. Next is the rapid meeting setting. Rapid meeting is one of the important features or like an interesting feature, I can say. If you are a busy bee who has like a back-to-back meeting schedule, like you are running without any buffer time, rapid meeting is your savior. So when the rapid meeting is enabled for all event durations less than 45 minutes, those event durations will be shortened by 5 minutes. For example, if my default event duration is 30 minutes and I have enabled rapid meetings, those will get reduced to 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So for events longer than 45 minutes, what happens is those events get shortened by 10 minutes. So in that case, you will have a buffer between two meetings. Next one is the participants permission. So when I have to add an attendee to an event, I have to assign them with some kind of permission. For example, the meeting consists of so many people, I can't organize the entire event by myself and I won't know the entire event invites details. So I can give add participant permission to any of my colleague so that they can add participant to the event on my behalf, even though I am the organizer for that event. So similarly, if you are a busy bee and somebody is handling your calendar, you can even give edit event permission so that they can change all the details regarding an event without the organizer's approval. So similar way, you can even choose to view only event details. In that case, the attendees can see only the event detail. They can't even see who else is attending with them. So similarly, you have view participants permissions also. So you can choose whichever suits you. Then is the conference. So as we have already spoken, virtual meetings have become so inevitable. So if I'm a person who works from remote, and obviously all my meetings are going to be in remote. So all my events needs to have a video conferencing option. So instead of adding video conferencing every time I create an event, I can just choose add Zoho meeting video conferencing by default, so that whenever I create an event, the meeting conferencing is added by default. Next is the event invitation. So event invitation is also part of mail calendar integration. So whenever an event is created or whenever somebody invites to an event, you receive or you send out meeting invites from your email. So when you have allow automatically add meeting invites from your emails, so every time a meeting invite is created, before you even accept it, those events will be visible in your grid. For example, if you are coming back from a vacation, or like you have coming back on Monday after the weekend, you might have an n number of emails. There is a high probability that we miss out some event invites. So in that case, instead of checking each mail for an event invite, you can just allow this option so that all the event invites will be added to your calendar. Again, these are not like accepted events, so you can still choose to accept or deny those meeting invites, but they are part of your grid even before you do that. So next is the free busy consideration. So free busy consideration is also important when somebody is checking on your schedule for booking an event. So if you are working in a 9 to 6 job and somebody wants to create a meeting, you want them to want you to be shown free only during those working hours. So when you enable show me as busy during non-working hours, only your working hours will be available in the free busy consideration. So the next is the notification settings. So every time you receive an event invite, those notifications will be sent to you via email. So you can choose to update your email address from here. And the next is the agenda notification. For some people, they need to see the agenda for the day before even they begin the day. For some, it might be like on a Monday morning, they want to know what are the things that are in their plate for the entire week. So if you are that person, you can choose to enable agenda notifications by email. You can choose to receive these agenda emails either daily or weekly. So if you choose it for daily, for every morning, you will receive an agenda mail consist of all your events for that particular day. So next, we'll move on to My Calendar section. So we have seen this My Calendar section consists of your primary default calendar. So other than that, you can also create multiple calendars and share with their people. So now we can see how to create one calendar. So you can create a calendar either by clicking on the plus icon here or directly from the grid here. Let's see, I am naming this as team. And I want to include this in my free busy sharing. For some calendar events, you may choose not to show them when somebody is checking for your free busy. So you can choose whether to include this particular calendar events in your free busy sharing or not. So you can choose a description and click on save. So once this calendar is created, so whenever you create an event, you can choose this calendar as a event calendar, and you can also set up reminder notifications specifically for this calendar. We have three options for email reminder notification: one via email, and as a pop-up, and as a notification. You can choose whatever type of reminders you are comfortable with. Next one is the sharing permissions. So how you will be sharing your calendars. So there are many instances where we need to share the calendar. So there are three possible ways through which you can share your calendar. One is the URL sharing. You can either use a public URL or a private URL to share your calendar. The next one is the individual calendar sharing using their email addresses. And the next is the embed calendar, or like you can also say schedule appointment feature. So first we'll look into the public URL sharing. So once you have enabled the public access, and while enabling the public access, when you are sharing your calendar, you can choose with what permission somebody can see my calendar. If you choose only free busy, and when they check the calendar, your calendar will just be blocked for some period and will be available for some period, and none of your event details will be visible to the person who is checking. So you can also choose view event details, where if somebody is checking your calendar, they can see all the event details. So once the public access is enabled, you will have a multiple options to choose from. So the first thing is the URL using the iCal or HTML URL. So you can share this URL to anybody you want to share your calendar with, and they can subscribe to your calendar using this URL. The next one is the schedule appointment. So when you are a person who is in a professional business and your clients will be scheduling appointments with you, you can use this iframe. You can copy this iframe from here and paste it in your HTML of the web page you want to attach this form to. So we have a customization options available. You can choose from these forms, and whenever somebody wants to schedule an appointment with you, they will fill out the form and submit it. You can analyze those forms and either accept or reject the appointment request. The next one is the embed calendar. Using the embed calendar, like similarly, you can also copy paste this URL in your web page HTML, and your calendar will be embedded in your website. So when anybody wants to check your FreeBC schedule, they can check using the embedded calendar. The next one is the private URL option. So once the private URL option is enabled, so currently this is disabled for my organization. So if you are admin, you will have access to the admin console of your calendar. So when the admin has enabled private URL sharing, you will be able to share your private URL. In that case, it is very similar to the public URL. We'll have an iCal. You need to copy this and share it to whoever you want to. The major difference between private URL and public URL sharing is once the certain for example, you're sharing your calendar for you're working on a project and you want your project teammates to know your availability. That is the reason you are sharing your calendar. So once that intent is over, your private, if it is a private URL, you can just reset the URL so that no matter if they have the URL, they won't be able to access your calendar. But in the case of public URL, it is not the same. So whoever has the access to the URL, they will be able to see all your event details. Similarly, next is the group calendars. So the group calendars is much more similar to the my calendar section. You can just add a group calendars, like add members to the group and all the saving permissions. So I can see from an existing group. So all the reminders and sharing permissions are similar to a my calendar setting. So now we have done the basic customizations. Now let's see how to create and manage an event. We have set up all the settings based on our preference. Now we need to create the event. So creating an event may look like a much simpler task or like the basic task for many people, but it requires a lot of inputs, and Zoho Calendar provides you with a lot of unique features to make your journey much more at ease. So for example, when you're creating an event, the first thing you need to decide is on a time and date, and whether this event is a single instance event or a repeat event. For example, if you want to create a monthly meeting for your team, and if instead of creating that meeting every time for each month or even if it is a week, so you can create a recurring meeting or a repeat event. So once you have created a repeat event, for say you want to create the event for you want to have a meeting at every Monday at 10 a.m. So instead of creating an event specifically for every Monday, you can just create a repeat event and add as a weekly event, so that every Monday an event will be created and it will be the event invite will be sent to the attendees. So now you have decided whether it is a single meeting or a repeat event. Next is the attendees. You have, for example, 10 people in your team, so you need to find a time where all the 10 of them are available. So instead of going and asking or like having to and fro conversations on whether they are available for a particular time, you can check on their free busy directly from the create event form. Here you can see the manage free busy. I'll show you the UI also in a while. So you can use this manage free busy and check on the particular time where all of the 10 people are available so that you can create a meeting. Next, you need to provide your attendees with certain kind of permission. So what permissions you want to give for each of the attendees. For some, you want to give the edit event permission. For some, you want to give only add participant permission, or you don't want to give them any permission. They just need the event details at all. So you can choose so from the participants permission. The next is the ad conferencing. We have spoke much about the ad conferencing. So again, I'm telling, whenever you need to create a meeting with a virtual meeting, you need to have ad conferencing. That option is directly available in the event creation form. So I'll show you how you can create an event easily. So there are three ways using which you can create an event in Zoho Calendar. One, using the new event form. available. So once I click on the new event, a separate tab opens for which consists of the event creation form. The second one is the smart ad. I don't have time to go fill up all these details, and I don't have much of the information also. So in these cases, I can use the smart ad permission. So I'll see. I just click on the smart ad for say I want to create a meeting tomorrow. Meeting tomorrow. Or maybe I want to have a webinar discussion. Since we are doing the webinar, I can discuss about this webinar tomorrow on 10 a.m. tomorrow. So I can just click on add. So you can see this webinar discussion is created for 10 a.m. tomorrow directly. So I don't have to go through the entire process of event creation, but still I can do so in a minute. So the third method is you can directly click on the grid. So I can see like this, the particular time slot is available for me. So instead of clicking the new event, I can directly click on the grid. So let's go through all the fields in the event creation form. So I want to create a team meeting. And as I mentioned, I can also create a repeat meeting. So I want this meeting to be repeated every week on a Monday. So you can choose whichever days is available. So if you want to choose a daily meeting or if you want to choose a monthly meeting, you can choose like on the first of every month, I want this meeting to happen. So here I'll choose the weekly meeting, and this meeting will happen every week, and I want this meeting to happen on a Monday. So I can choose which day I want and how long this meeting should happen. So there are two ways I can choose how long this event needs to happen by date. So I can choose either a date. For say today is September 9th, I can choose like September 30. So until September 30, I'll have this meeting every Monday, or I can choose it by count. So I want to have this weekly meeting for the next 10 weeks. So in that case, for the next 10 weeks, on every Monday, a meeting is scheduled. So the next is you need to add in participants to the meeting. For say, I'll add some of my colleagues here. Next, so I have added these participants. I need to know whether they are available for this particular time. So I have scheduled this meeting to happen at 4:30 today. So I am seeing, fortunately, all my participants are available. So what, for example, I'll say this meeting is scheduled at 6. You can see Paula is not available for this particular time. In that case, what I can do is you can just click on the next free time. So once I click on this, the part availability check will show me the next available time where all of the 3 participants are available to me. So here it is showing only they are available tomorrow. Since it's already late, so they are available only tomorrow. That works fine for me. So I'll save these changes. So before that, I can also edit the participants permission. So we have already set up the default participant permissions from the settings. So you can, if you want to override those, you can choose so from the directly from the participants list. So let's see, I want to give add participants permissions to Paula so that she can add, if she feels is necessary, she can add any more participants to this event. In the same way, there is a thing called non-participants. Non-participants are nothing but sometimes you want to keep somebody informed of this meeting happening. They are not essentially a part of this meeting. You just want to keep them informed. In that cases, you can add a non-participant to the meeting. So these non-participants can see the event details and the attendee details, but they cannot RSVP to the event. In the same way, there is another concept called optional participant. Sometimes, for example, for me, Paula is necessary for this meeting, but Ken is not mandatory to attend this meeting if he has any other commitments. In that case, I can choose Ken as optional. So when Ken receives the email invite, so it will be mentioned that he is just an optional participant. So he can choose whether he wants to attend this meeting or not. Then if it is a physical meeting, you can add a location, and you can also add a virtual conferencing option. So if you have a Zoom enabled account, so you can integrate your Zoom conferencing. If it is enabled, the Zoom conferencing will also list down here, and you can choose from whichever meetings you want to add. Then if you have any attachments or any documents for the reference, you can attach those using the add attachment, or you can also enter the URLs here. You can set up a notification similar to the ones we've seen in the settings. You can also set up a specific notification for this event here in the event creation form. So once it is done, you can click on save. So while saving, I can choose whom I need to send the event invitations to. Either it is to the attendees or only or nobody I want to. So I'll just send these to attendees. So now the meeting is being created. So once the event is created, what happens next? So first, all my attendees needs to receive an email invite. So how do I know that if all my attendees have received their email invites? In that case, I have an option for to check the email invite failure status in Zoho Calendar. So let's click on the event we have just created. So I created it on Monday. So I can check on any event here. So you can see all invites are being delivered. So once all my participants have received their email invites, this status will be shown. So if for some cases there can be a bounce or there can be a server issue, the email might not have delivered. So in that case, the status would be undelivered, and there will be a reason stated for the reason for undelivery. So once you can check this, you will know whether your participants have received the email invite or not. So in the similar way, I might be invited to so many events. So how do I know, apart from the email invite directly from my calendar, whether I have been invited to a meeting? So here we have the yet to respond section. This section will have the list of all the events I have been invited to. So I can choose to accept or deny, or maybe choose maybe for all these events. So once I have chosen yes or no, this notification goes off. So I have two pending event invites to respond to. There are some cases where, for example, this weekly huddle is scheduled at 12:30 to 1, which is my lunchtime usually. So I don't want to miss this event, and yet I'm not available on this particular time. So what can I do? So I just open this event, and there is an option to propose a new time. So what I can do is I can propose a new time to the organizer of the meeting. Say, for example, I'm available at 2 o'clock. So I am proposing a new time 2 to 2:30. So, and I click send proposal. Once I did this, the organizer of the event, for example, here in this case, Paula, will receive a notification that I have proposed a new time. So upon verification, she can either accept my proposal or deny my proposal. Once it is accepted, this event will get edited and a new notification will be sent to me. So that's all about how to create and manage an event. Then we'll talk about how Zoho Calendar and Zoho Mail works in collaboration. So there are multiple options that is available for the integration. So here, instead of doing all these things with whatever we have done now in a separate tab like Zoho Calendar, you can choose to do so everything inside the MailSuite application. So Calendar is part of the MailSuite application. So if you're a Zoho Mail user from any of the plans, maybe Workplace or Zoho One, you get a Calendar as a bundle, and you don't have to open Calendar in a separate tab. It is inside your MailSuite as part. So I can show you. So this is how your mail.zoho.com will look like, and you can see the option of calendar. So this works much similar to the Zoho calendar, like which we have seen before. That is calendar.zoho.com. So you can utilize all the operations directly from your mail itself. Apart from the left menu, we also have a calendar widget. So even when you are working on your mail and you need to suddenly check your event schedule, you can just, instead of going to the calendar separately as an application, you can just go for the e-widget option available in the right side. Here you can see the list of all the events that you're part of. You can check your schedule, or even you can check your agenda. So you can even create new event directly from your Zoho mail. So the next option is the contextual integration. So contextual integration, it makes your work much more easier. For example, I'll take a mail. Let's see, this particular mail. I have received this mail from Paula and she wants to discuss about a comparison pages. So I need to, she suggested us to have a review meeting to discuss on these items. So instead of going to the calendar or moving to the e-widget from the right side, what I can do is I just need this review meeting to happen. So I click on this review meeting and I add this to my calendar. So I can just add Paula directly here and we'll be having a review meeting as soon as possible. So instead of moving to any applications, I'm just booking my event directly from my email. So calendar e-widget, event invitation. So whenever you receive an event invitation, you get those invitations in your email. So when we have seen this option in settings to automatically add all your event invites directly from your mail. So if this option, this event invitation option is enabled, you will all your event invites will be automatically added to your calendar grid whenever you receive an email invite. So if not, if this option is disabled, you will have an add to calendar option in your mail from where you can add those events to your calendar. Subscribing to calendars. So managing your calendar in one single place is inevitable, especially when you work on multiple applications throughout the day. For example, if you are in a marketing profession, you may be using CRM or projects or any other than Zoho applications also you might be working on. So Zoho Calendar provides you to have a unified space where you can access all your calendars in one single place. You can edit or like you can view your events or edit all your events from all the calendars. For example, maybe a Google Calendar, or it might be an Outlook calendar, or it might be from some other Zoho applications like Projects Calendar. You can manage all those calendars from one single place. So there are two options available to add calendars to your primary Zoho Calendar account. The one is subscribing to calendars, and second one is the sync to calendars. So there is a small difference between subscribing to calendars and syncing your calendar. So subscribing to calendars acts as a one-way sync. That is, you can only view the events that are available. For example, you have subscribed to any of the calendars and the events available in that calendar can only be viewed. You can't edit or make any changes to those events from the Zoho calendar. To edit the events, you need to go back to the original calendar. With subscribing, whereas sync is a two-way sync where you can edit, manage everything directly from your Zoho calendar. So first we'll look into what are the calendars you can subscribe. The first is the public calendar of any Zoho user. So I can show you in the UI, there is an option to call subscribe. So here you will have three list of options. One is the Zoho calendar, web URL, and holidays. So you can search for any user from your organization. For example, let me search some. So I have chosen Ken. Ken has shared these calendars in the public domain and some in within the organization, and he hasn't shared any calendar particularly with me. So any of these calendars I can subscribe to. Similarly, you can also subscribe to any Zoho calendar users using their email address. You can search their email address and get their calendar subscribed. The next is the web URL option. So as I previously mentioned, you can subscribe to the holiday calendars or any sports calendars. All that you need is an iCal format HTTP URL. You can just go and search. For example, if you've been following Olympics, you can subscribe your Olympics calendar. You can just go for Olympic calendar iCal and you will find those URL. You can just add this URL here and click on subscribe, and those calendars will be added under subscribed calendar section. In the same way, you can also have holiday calendars. So already we have provided with the list of all the regional holiday calendars here. So for example, if you're working in a UK shift and you want to be informed about all the holiday options available in UK, you can subscribe to this. In similar way, we have the list of all the countries available here. You can subscribe to any of the countries using the list available. So if any calendar that you are looking for is not available here, that you can subscribe using the web URL available in the public domain. The next one is the app calendars. So how you can sync your app calendars. For example, here for other Zoho applications, projects, contacts, and lens, we have the one-way sync options available. So you will see the list of calendars available for your Zoho projects. For Zoho, it's all the same account, so you'll already find those options. So may I just unsubscribed it? So for example, Zoho contacts. So I'll have the contacts birthday calendars listed. If I want, I can just click on subscribe. So when you click on unsubscribe, it will get disabled immediately. The next one is the sync option. So we have just seen the projects and contacts, and the next is the sync. Sync means two-way sync, where you will have all the event details available in one interface, and you can edit or manage all the events from the same interface. Sync calendar is available for CRM, recruit, and task as an internal applications I'm talking about. So if you want to sync your CRM calendar, there are only two eligibilities. You should have a verified CRM account, and the event module should be enabled in your CRM. If it is not enabled, you need to contact your admin to get that enabled. So once it is enabled, those calendars will be listed under. For example, here I can see two organizations. I'm part of two groups here, so I can choose which I want to sync. In the same way, you can also sync recruit or task calendar. So all these three, CRM, recruit, and task, is a two-way sync where you can edit and manage events directly from Zoho Calendar. You don't need to switch between the tabs to edit any events. So apart from the Zoho applications, we have sync options available for Google Calendar and Outlook. The good news is Outlook Calendar is live, but we can hope it will be available in the next week. So people who are using Outlook Calendar, you can sync those Outlook Calendar also here in Zoho Calendar and manage this. Now we currently have the Zoho Calendar, Google Calendar sync options. So I can just go to sync. You can see Google Calendar option. Google Calendar sync is a very simple process. You just need to agree to the terms and authenticate Google. In this window, you need to enter the credentials of the Google account you want to sync, and those accounts will be authenticated. So once it is authenticated, you will have the sync now option. So once it is done, your Google Calendar is added, and this Google Calendar will be listed under the app calendar section in your main grid. So this will be listed here, the app calendars. In the same way, you can also sync your Zoho calendar with any of the native applications using the CalDAV sync. So all that you need is that particular application needs to support the CalDAV format. For example, if you are an iPhone user or a MacBook user, you can sync your Zoho calendar to the device's native calendar. So all that you need is you need to select whichever calendars you want to sync with your device. You can check on these, and you need to add your Zoho calendar account as a CalDAV account in that particular device. Once it is added, all the events from your Zoho calendar will be visible in the native device section. So once it is visible, you can access your Zoho calendar anywhere from any device also. So that's all about the sync. So I guess we have covered almost everything from the agenda. So if you have any more issues, so you can reach out to our support channel. You can email us at support@zohocalendar.com. So we'll be happy to assist you with all your queries. If you have any suggestions or any requests for future webinars or such, you can also email us the same. And for all the informations we have shared in the webinar, you can find those informations available in the help pages or the how to documents available in zoho.com/calendar. Similarly, you can also participate in the Zoho Calendar community. So we are trying to keep our community updated about all the recent developments, and you can also post your queries, and you can also have a collaboration with the fellow Zoho Calendar users in the Zoho Calendar community. So thank you all for joining us today.